Shalom and blessings. This is Rabbi Jack. Thank you for joining Ellen and I as we share this special teaching with you, this weekly special teaching that we send out. If you like it, please give us a like on YouTube. And also, we would love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. God bless you. I'm going to be reading now in the book of Romans, Romans chapter 7, verse 24. Romans 7, verse 24. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Do you know, when the Apostle Paul uh, said this, he wasn't a lost sinner. He was a saint of God. He was learning the lesson from God that he needed so as to walk in the Spirit. He knew he couldn't accomplish living for God on his own in his flesh. He knew that living for God can only be accomplished by the grace of God. Well, this tells me that our responsibility as believers in Messiah Yeshua is to confess our sinfulness and our inability to please God. We need the redemption of Messiah Yeshua, the redemption that he accomplished for us. We need it applied to our lives again and again and again. Can you relate to that? I think we all need a constant awareness of not having arrived yet in terms of our pursuit of our upward calling in Messiah Yeshua, that is. We need a constant dependence on him. We need a sense of feeling incomplete in terms of all that God has for us. There should be a holy restlessness in our pursuit of God. That's what I got from this passage by Paul in Philippians. Philippians 3, verse 12. Philippians 3, verse 12. Not that I have already obtained it or have already become perfect, but I press on so that I may lay hold of that for which also I was laid hold of by Messiah Yeshua. You know, like Paul, we should constantly find the need for fresh cleansing in our lives, a fresh dose of God's grace that would allow him to work deeper in us and stir up our hunger for deliverance from every trace of sin, giving us an obsession and longing to follow him more. If we're dedicated to this effort, God will be faithful to make us aware of the areas that need changing in our lives. This has to happen. It's only natural that it happen because the closer we get to the light of God's holiness and purity, the more the light of his very being will illuminate the stains and spots on our hearts. And here is the beautiful side of this whole truth. He doesn't show these things to us to destroy us. He reveals these things to us to deliver us. That's what's so beautiful about God's purifying presence. Worship of him is tied to power and cleansing. With worship, real spiritual work gets done in our lives. I think many believers have never felt like they were called to do anything for God because they have never been cleansed. In fact, many have never seen even the need to be cleansed. God is not going to use dirty vessels. I can assure you of that. This places the context of biblical worship on a totally different footing. It really isn't about feeling blessed or feeling good, though there are times of great blessing and refreshing when we worship. But worship is more about establishing our availability for God. Worship reveals the throne of God. Then, after the throne is revealed, excuse me, worship creates a heart that bows before that throne, says before that throne, I'm sorry, stays before that throne, and endures before that throne. It's not a charismatic thing, it's a Bible thing, and it's a God thing. Set your heart on honoring the King. Make worship, now remember, worship means serving and praising God. Make it a central part of your life, and it will bring you into the sovereign will of God. Then He will give you the strength for whatever task He calls you to do, and you will hear the call. Baruch Hashem. Thank you. Now we're going to hear from Ellen.
Shalom all, Ellen here. Do you count the blessings of God on a moment-to-moment basis? Or do you not see the hand of God in everything that you do? I'm not saying that you need to mark down, number your blessings, but to acknowledge each and every one. To verbally thank God for bringing you through each day and every moment of the day. The Lord is working tirelessly on your behalf, individually and corporately. The Lord's timing is perfect. We cannot do anything on our own as believers in Messiah Yeshua. If we do anything without God, it is of our own strength. It is of our own flesh. And ultimately, it will fail. No, I'm not prophesying, but only speaking from experience and outcomes in my own life. I'm sorry if you have heard it all before, but maybe you need to hear it again. Planning without God, doing without God will not last. In fact, if you desire to reach another level in your spiritual growth, you need to surrender any and all control over to the Lord. If you are a dreamer or a fanatic fantasizer, you'll fail. If you have not made Yeshua the first ingredient in your life, you'll fail. There are two options. One is just to walk like everyone else. That is, stop following the Lord and go on your own. The devil will not mind this because you'll be residing in his camp. You become easy prey, and that's not a challenge for him. And he knows where you will ultimately end up. Now, if you are a born-again believer and choose option 2 and follow the Lord, the devil's rubbing his hands together and planning a strategy to trip you up right now. His job is to subtract you from God and add you to hell. Simple arithmetic. I'm a housewife, so likening all this to a recipe makes sense to me. Leaving out Yeshua, prayer, and worship from your life makes it all smooth going because the devil has got you. When you include these things in the mix of your day and truly surrender it all to God, you will have all you need to fight the good fight, to defeat the devil and his cohort's plans against you. I must reiterate, because so many of us go about our lives as if there is no God and no devil until chaos sets in. Both entities are keeping a watch on each of us. God is ever watchful to bless you, to provide, and to protect you, while the adversary is waiting for our first and only mistake to lure us into his camp. A blessed life recipe. Yeshua, love, the word in your hearts, obedience and reliance on God as he keeps you from deception, assembling together with like-minded believers, worship, kindness, compassion, and the fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5. And guess what? More love. A recipe for disaster? Walk in your own ways. Do it all in your own power. The love of money, denying the existence of God and the existence of Satan. Remember, the devil wants to plunder heaven and populate. The devil wants to plunder heaven, and populate hell. and we as born-again believers want to plunder hell and populate heaven. I leave you with love and the word in Jeremiah 29:11 through 13. For I know the plans for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. God bless.